doing? Welcome to another week of Shut Up and Poetry. We are your hosts. I'm Essie Says. This is SalarCon. Why are you? What's on your face?
Oh, this is just my Brave paint.
Your Brave paint?
Yeah, have you never put that on?
You know, I haven't actually just, throughout the day kind of worn some Brave paint. I just assumed that you were like part of a sporting event or something.
Not
but I guess
today.
you could wear that at any time, period.
Oh, fantastic.
So
Yeah,
you just-
I highly recommend it.
Do you feel brave?
I feel so brave right now.
Do you feel brave enough for a spontaneous short poem?
Duh! I like the color black
Uh-huh.
because it's back in town and I'm brown and I really like colors today. Go Native Americans, be brave.
You just had so much range there. But I feel like you have a theme with your spontaneous short poems. Because I think the last time you did one, you were brown also.
I am always brown,
Okay,
but
so that
I've been
makes
thinking
sense.
a lot about colors lately, so
It's the colorful, spontaneous short poem.
black is a sign of strength and proving yourself in battle. So I was thinking about black.
Okay, well.
Black is back.
Apparently.
Get it.
Alright guys, we have a great feature for you this week. SalarCon, who are we bringing up?
Mr. Dave.
What?
He's the motherfucking shit.
Okay,
You guys
wow.
are gonna love him.
A lot of curse words. Check him out.
Hi, my name is Dave, and I'm not an alcoholic, but it has been 1,348 days since I last tried to eat myself to death. Let me explain. When I stepped on the scale this morning, I weighed 1 pound less than I did in high school, and to many people this may not seem like much, but to me it means I've left someone behind. The largest point in my life, I weighed 396 pounds, and over the last 3.5 years, I have lost 165 of that. That is a person.
Yes.
And the man I left behind was 165 pounds of shame, of self-destruction, of insecurity that wrapped me like a blanket and held tight to my hips, and to my waist, and to my chest, and to my mind. And in my mind, weight is a measure of who you are in our society, because the more you weigh, the less you are in other people's eyes. The lumps in my sides caused the lumps in my throat and made it hard for me to speak up for myself. Fat was the blanket that covered up the hole in me, that covered up me whole. And in me, I found that food softened the blow so I could roll with the punches. But the punchline is, with every stretch mark that stretched me thin, with every feeding that should have filled me up, they all just left me empty. I was at lunch with a woman who had never known me when I was at large, and we watched a woman walk past with a bounce in her step that had less to do with joy and more to do with bad decisions. She said, "People like that make me sick. Can't she just put down her fork?" I stood up and said, "You mean like my mother, who raised 2 children at 420 pounds, who died at 670 pounds from a heart that had grown too large from supporting too much bulk or too much love? Or do you mean me? I threw down my money and I left. I do not return her calls. To my mother, the phrase, 'I love you, and can I get you something to eat?' was synonymous. Fat is the body's way of storing energy, of holding on to all the things that we love in the world, because sometimes that's the only way that we know how to let the things that we love in." Hi, my name is Dave. It's been approximately 34 minutes since I've had amazing catfish. But the problem with food addiction is that with drugs or alcohol, you can remove them from your life. You don't have that option with your food. You square off with your demon 3 square times a day. You wear your noose like a necktie. You give into food, you die. You give up on food, you die. Do not let that knot get too tight, you die. First time in my life that I could not eat was at my mother's wake when she snapped me awake as I lit her a candle. I couldn't handle the image of smoke rising from my ashes, and I swore from that day forward that I would render my fat into tallow and burn that candle at both ends and burn bridges with anyone who didn't understand that in fact this fat has made me unhappy and it's not happening anymore. Trim the fat from under my skin, get to the meat, get to the meat. She got through to me under my skin instead of inside my stomach, and I know, in one way, I'm half the man that I started as. But in far more important ways, I am twice the man that I was before. To the man that I left behind, I want to say goodbye. I will never see you again.
Wow, that's Mr. Dave. Alright, so let's get into this. So, there are so many things we could talk about here. He's just incredible with his wordplay. One thing that really struck out to me is just how there's the comparison between an eating disorder and like having a drug addiction, and how similar those are.
Oh yeah.
But also at the same time, like how much more difficult it is to overcome that food addiction versus the drug addiction, because you have to eat. There's like no way of getting around that. You die kind of either way, and so that's just he painted such a beautiful picture for that. And then the other thing is just why he kind of went on this like metamorphosis and talking about his mom and being at the wake for his mom. Like that's like personal. That's real, and to have something so profound and so like heartbreaking kind of snap you awake and turn you into like you light a fire under your ass essentially into getting into better shape, losing weight, or just making the decision that you want to live a better life for yourself. Like that's huge. So thank you so much for that honesty and just that incredible story. What do you think?
I love Mr. Dave. He's obviously a very brave man. I felt like I could relate with him on a personal level. Food overconsumption is a big problem in our nation. And so I feel like I can relate with food being my source of comfort, eating my feelings. It's like a constant struggle for me personally. So I felt like I could definitely relate with him. And I loved how he brought up in his poem the time that he went on that date. And I just feel like he was saying, you need to be careful about what you say to people.
Yeah.
Don't come up to me and expect me to jump on board with your messed up prejudice or whatever you have. And it was also a really great reminder that if you see someone who is overly obese or something like that, you don't know their life, you don't know their struggle, and to really not judge those people.
Yeah, you don't want to be that girl on the date. You don't want to be that
Don't
person.
be her.
Don't be that girl.
Okay. So one of the things that I really took away from this poem is the thought, the more you weigh, the less you are. So I definitely want to ask that to you guys. What do you think? The more you weigh, the less you are? Comment below and tell us what you think.
Yeah, let us know what you think, and then don't forget to subscribe. You can find more information on Mr. Dave at his Facebook, or you can come and meet him in person at the Austin Poetry Slam or at Neo Soul. He actually just had a feature at Neo Soul last week. He's an incredible poet. Trust
really
me,
nice
you want to
guy.
get to know this guy. He's super nice. He'll give you a big hug. He's a great human being and is a very inspiring person. Get to know him. That's Mr. Dave, and that'll do it for this week. Poets, don't forget to send us your poems to shutupandpoetry@gmail.com to be considered for the feature for next week. And that'll do her.
Bye, I love you.
Take care, guys. See you guys next week.
Be brave.
And be brave.
Hey.
Shut up. In poetry.
Much better. That's... wow.